The Kershaw Camp 10. They call it a machete, but it's quite a bit thicker than a machete. You could use it as a machete or a chopper, batoner, just to go crazy. It uses 65 MN tool steel, Chinese made. It is a budget chopper made by Kai. Here's the spec sheet. Blade length is 10 inches, overall length 16. Does have a powder coat on it, which is going to come off pretty easy. Does have a rubber overmold, full tang. And they're between $39 on Amazon to $44 on Knife Center. You know, pretty cheap. Being this 65 mm steel, which is equivalent to 1065, these knives, they're not going to have the best edge retention. It's going to be medium Rockwell, probably 55 to 56. But you could knot this thing up in a big stump, and this thing will bend. And you can actually see the bend, and it shouldn't break if it's heat treated properly. That's how tough this steel is. So you're trading edge retention for just toughness. And having that huge amount of belly in this recurve, when you chop down, this is a massive amount with that, you know, I'm going to call it a high saber. And that wedge up on top goes all the way to the tip. That's just going to sink in deeply to some material. You're going to remove some material because of this curve here. And all the weight, the forward blade heavy, is coming down right in this area. This is a new one. I have a couple that I've used in the desert and in Tahoe, and these things are just fun. For the price, it's tough to beat. They're comfortable handle, big handle. You know, it does have a lanyard. You could put the up here so you can make the lanyard loop if you want to, you know, to hold your hand in a guard. In my opinion, this is one, besides some of the cold steel offerings in, you know, similar, their machete line and their chopping line, this is some of the cheapest fun you could have right here if you just want to start hacking on things. Sorry about that. The sheath that comes with it is decent. This knife is it's up into my wife's leather shop, and that's why I'm making these videos today. And she's trying to figure out, because we're going to take these to a street fair, if she's going to overmold. Because it is a cheap knife. You know, people like to buy the cheap knife with custom leather. So she may wrap it with some bands of leather and then customize it. Or actually make a whole wet form sheath for it, which is, you know, going to be costly. And we want to keep the whole cost of the knife, the package down, because it is a cheap knife. But there is usually a strap up here. It does hold it in decently. It wraps around the back of the hilt. They vibrate though. I mean, they're not snug. It just makes a lot of noise, but it's decent for what you get. I mean, you got to remember it's 39 bucks. So here's a size comparison to a Becker BK5. Gives you a good idea of the size of this knife. This is just something that everybody should have, you know, behind the seat of their truck or in the trunk. Or if you just like having fun, you know, splitting wood or hacking into anything, really. And you can do yard work with it. It works very well. Put some gloves on. This is really grippy material. They actually Kershaw did a really nice job with this handle. It doesn't fatigue your hand at all. The Kershaw Camp 10 with 65 MN Chinese carbon tool steel. Great budget chopper.